Hi, I'm Andrew Fischel. I'm here with Sam Moelis.
Hey, how's it going?
We're going to talk about the top four bout between Avola and Garozzo from Cairo this season. And let's just get right to it.
So you have a teammate bout here. So those are always kind of interesting because these guys fancy each other so much, but it kind of makes it more fun that these guys really try to outdo each other in a way that they kind of know what's coming in the beginning.
Yeah, and in foil especially, it's so competitive between all the top guys. They really have to do well to outdo each other so they can make the team.
And they're also good that they're fencing each other all the time at World Cups too. So.
Yeah.
Same with the Italians as well.
It's true. In the finals of Dusseldorf, there was an Italian ditto. Mm-hmm. So it happens pretty often. And these guys have really, really different styles, right?
Yeah, Avola is definitely one of those masters of distance. He's
got really tight footwork.
Not as aggressive coming forward, while at the same time Garozzo is known for that slow push forward, being able to really
creeping attack.
Right, which I'll be able to talk about a lot. Which just being able to hold the right of way coming forward and either draw something out or execute on his own initiative. It makes for a really good bout, especially for someone like Avola, who's very tentative on defense and very mindful of where he is as well in the strip.
And let's get into it. See, in my opinion, this is what you shouldn't be doing against Garozzo. You really need to bother him more. Otherwise, he'll just take the space from you.
Well, one thing that make Garozzo very successful, and I'm going to be saying this a lot, is that he really has the ability to hold the right of way when he's pushing forward, in the sense that he gets the right of way and he holds this space that's 6 to 8 inches of space that he holds between him and his opponent.
And he's just so good at finishing.
Right, the thing is, he looks like a very reactive fencer where he's finishing on their counterattack. He's finishing because they counterattack, but it's not. He's the one that's actually making the decision of I want to finish early, I want to finish late, but it's in the timing that the other fencer is counterattacking in. So in our point of view, we're how did he know that he was going to counterattack? But he didn't know he was going to counterattack. He just made the executive decision of I'm going to finish early when Avola decided to counterattack. But you'll notice that a lot of times he's holding the space right there in this 6 to 8 inches of space where it's here he made a poor judgment decision where normally someone like Garozzo was able to step back and do power post or finish a little bit earlier.
He just kind of caught him standing there.
Right, this time he got caught in preparation, but something that doesn't happen that often for this kind of fencer. But then again, Avola is also a very good defensive fencer as well.
Ooh, that was a sick remise.
Yeah.
I like that kind of action where you step in close on the side and go over the head or around the head can sometimes be hard to deal with because they crush the distance so quickly.
Right. There are some obviously Garrick has his crazy infighting touches, and even Race is really good at the remise and one, into
the
prelim.
Remise, yeah. Mm-hmm. I've seen him do that a lot. What?
Yeah.
That was great too.
And you'll notice that Garozzo will eventually start to make a change here where he holds the right of way even longer without actually executing touches. Because right now he's really just trying to hit him. He's just trying to hit Avola, which I know sounds very simple. You just want to go forward and hit someone.
But sometimes really work at the top.
Well, sometimes you don't. It just makes it right. There, you hold the right of way a little longer. You get him into a reactive place, passes on guard line, and then it becomes much easier to execute an action. And you'll notice that as the bout goes on, Garozzo will hold distance longer and longer and longer until Avola just messes up, some kind of mess up. See how it's right before, there was a time before where you think that he has the ability to finish. So he's pushing forward here and most people to finish right there.
But he just doesn't feel...
Right, it just wasn't the time to finish it. You have to hold it a little bit longer because Avola was ready there. But then after that action, then it turned into a counterattack.
And that's kind of what I was saying in the video I made about Garozzo's attack, where he just kind of waits for the other person to do something wrong or something that he feels he can finish into.
Right. And I think it was a good adjustment that he made. I think that, even when he won the Olympics, he was still a very reactive fencer. It was very much that he finished when they counterattacked, and I think that he actually lost some... He was having less success after he had won the Olympic Games, and then he made this adjustment where he was able to recognize when he was in a space to affect someone in a way that he could finish on his own initiative. But
what do you think of that call?
I think it was attacked from the left. I think he stopped his attack.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see in a second. Call stands.
Seems like I'm biased against Garozzo. I happen to watch him a lot, but again, Avola is also just a beauty to watch as well.
Yeah, the stroke is really, really tight. I like it a lot, and that's coming from a saber fencer.
Yeah. There he is, holding in that space. It doesn't really look like he's looking to go touch him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then there he goes. That's the thing. So, and that's what's beautiful is that to have the ability to put the pressure on and then take it off. And then to take it off, there.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you catch him in a place where he's just coming forward and doesn't know why he's coming forward when he does.
So you're saying he kind of set that up, caught him in a distance that he was uncomfortable with when he started attacking.
Right, look at this initiative, and when he decides to take it off, it's like he's going backwards on his terms. A lot of fencing feels like it's two people attacking, and it's your turn, now my turn, now your turn, now my turn. And this is a situation when it's like, it's my turn going forward, and now it's my turn going backwards.
That's an interesting observation.
Yeah. Now it's, and you can tell, even if he hit that, I still would have called a power post. It just looks like he's going forward and taking the blade.
And Garozzo was asking about that too.
Right, he wants to make sure that he's like, no, I mean, for me, it was still Garozzo's power post.
But the rest doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
Ooh. Avola tried to do that flick 3 times now. He got the first one, but the last two, Garozzo's been a little bit more upright to defend from that angle.
And he's a smart fencer. He'll make an adjustment now. I think right now he's in a very reactive place where he's kind of waiting for something to happen. And I think now he'll start to take his time a little bit more rather than just trying to go forward and hit him. Like there.
Avola loves his line. Ooh, that was great timing for that riposte.
Yeah, it really does seem as if Garozzo has now found, once you become a master of that space, that like 6 to 8 inches between you and your opponent, once you can really control that and be aware of when you enter that space to be able to finish and also dance just outside of it so that you can properly react to someone doing like a counterattack or an attack in preparation, it really opens up the bout. You really just become a master of like what you decide when actions happen and when they don't happen. Because outside of that 6 to 8 inches of space, no one can touch anyone. So it's really just a matter of who's going to get to that space, recognize that they're in that space, and execute from that space.
So you've seen Avola try to do this a couple of times. The first 2 times he was successful with it, but this time Garozzo is keeping his forward momentum a little bit better while also extending his arm. Whereas the first one worked because Garozzo was standing perfectly in place. The second one worked because Garozzo's arm was really late. But this one, he's not doing anything significantly wrong, in my opinion.
Right. I still think this was attack from Garozzo. Right of way in terms of attack and preparation is making a comeback. You know, there was a period, especially a couple of years ago, where no one could hit attack and preparation. It was just impossible. And now it's very much making a comeback where you can catch someone either, getting your arm out ahead of them instead of their legs, catch them whipping their arm back, and especially with a fencer like Garozzo.
That was such a pretty line.
Yeah, that was really nice. Especially with a fencer like Garozzo, where you feel like you can hit him in preparation, they take advantage of that by just deciding to give their arm out early in that time, which is what he did there. Avola's just nice with it.
Yeah.
Just nice with it. That bout, one of the coolest bouts I've ever seen was
nice touch, buddy.
Yeah. Was Avola and Garrick in Paris. Was that not one of the coolest bouts I've ever seen?
There were like 8 really nice touches.
Oh my god, the whole bout. Just a missed repost.
Yeah. Avola's missing his reposts, but a lot of the time that he's been missing them, it's because Garozzo's been stepping in close.
Right.
So we'll see if he picks up on that.
And we'll see what kind of adjustment he decides to make. For me, that was the right call.
Yeah, I thought so
Just
too.
paraphrase. Nice. And it almost seems as if Avola is playing the same game where he's keeping him at a certain distance that's making Garozzo. It's almost like I don't want to keep using the same words. He's basically just like locking him into a distance where Garozzo doesn't have the freedom to get on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping him at this point in line distance where he just thinks that he's a distance to touch him when really he's just not. And what's nice that Avola is also doing is that he's continuing to put the pressure on Garozzo. Even though most of his touches have been on defense, I think he's hit one attack. I think his first touch was an attack, and that was it. He's still able to put the pressure on him because just going backwards, your opponent has to know that they can get hit with an attack. You know, it makes it much easier to defend knowing that someone can put pressure on you and hit you.
I didn't think he was covering there.
That was fun. No,
Yeah, it was good. All right, they're just gonna let this period go. So are we. So, is there anything that you suggest, or you would suggest to one or the other of the fencers to do differently going into the second period?
I think they've both found keys to how they can get touches because they've both gotten on rolls here. I think when Garozzo keeps the distance a little bigger and holds the right of way for a little longer, he finds that he's able to not only push Avola more towards his end of the strip, where he tends to make a couple more mistakes, but also able to draw out counterattacks, attacks in preparation that are not really successful, while at the same time when Avola keeps a much tighter distance and puts the pressure on him and then takes it off, Garozzo's all of a sudden attacking from this very small distance where Avola capitalizes with his like classic power posts, his like counterattacks and closing out and stuff like that. So
and a few attack and preps we saw earlier.
Right, and Avola, he got the last couple of touches at the end of the bout, so he may have more of a feeling going into this period, but I think they both know what they have to do. It's about who's really going to take control of the distance here.
And a lot of the time people ask me how to work on their hand speed because they feel like against certain people their hand is really slow. And I tell those people a lot that a lot of the time when you feel like your hand is being slow, it's actually because the distance is too close.
Right.
So you feel like Garozzo is controlling the distance, controlling the bout when the distance is a little wider, because he has the time to set up the space to set up those actions and the time to react to the things coming off of Avola.
Right, and like we can start it now. Like we have definitely spoken about this before. Like a lot of stuff like hand speed, while it's really and hand strength, I think is very important. But I think it's very superficial in the grand scheme of like the magic comes from how the opponent gets into a space to hit someone. Like the actual touch itself is like 1% of the whole touch.
Yeah.
So it's like
the setup is much more important.
And a lot of fencers make that 99% of their head. Like how am I going to touch someone? Am I going to flick them? Am I going to touch them? Is it going to be to the flank, to 4, to 6, to the shoulder, to something?
But it's much more important to figure out how I can get into
Well,
distance.
no one's getting there in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. You can't touch someone if you can't get into distance to touch them. So that's where a lot of the magic happens. And these guys, like we said, have both found a space where they can hit someone in the most efficient way possible. And it's very different. So it's who's really going to be the master of that. Thus far, like Garozzo has really been the one that has found it and dominated that space. So
Earlier,
right.
And then Avola seemed like he started to get it a little later.
Right.
And this one, I think, again, is still too close for him.
Right.
Like this, like I don't know.
I totally agree, but you'll see he tries to make it a little bigger.
Like I want to just point out right here how close the blade was.
Right.
At like a couple frames in, you can see that it's maybe like, look at that. That is way too close.
Yeah, and this is a very favorable distance for Avola, where it's almost like now Garozzo is coming into a reactive place, back to almost like the way that we used to think that he fenced, where he was only finishing on someone's counterattack. That's something where Avola can really play off of, giving stuff like false counterattacks and stuff like that to make Garozzo finish.
Yeah.
So.
And those fakes, if they're being ignored, can turn into real counterattacks or real actions.
Right.
If your opponent is really ignoring you.
That'll happen. Sneaky, got that blade right in there though.
Ouch.
Well, they don't call core anymore, so that's pretty cool. No, don't card him.
Although that wasn't really his.
No, don't card him. Oh,
Okay.
I don't think. In my opinion, this is a combat sport. We're both holding swords, trying to hit each other. There should not be core unless it's on purpose. Like, unless you can tell someone's body checking someone, that should be a card for me.
Or specifically doing it in a way that makes, like,
Right.
to avoid a touch.
Right.
I don't know. He did clock him kind of hard.
Yeah.
So. I love that Avola didn't try to hit Garozzo right there. He just kind of reset quickly. Ooh.
This is a great touch for many reasons. This is, again, a pure example of being able to hold the right of way longer than someone normally would. You can see now when he's starting his attack right here, very easy just to think you can finish right here. He would have gotten hit with power post or even right here. But no, it's now I've got him in a space where he finished when he counterattacked. Counterattacks here and finish, which is something that's really nice. It's like you hold the right of way to let the bout open up itself. But what's cool is that now, like, once you've set up a way that you can hit people like this, you can then deviate from that and all of a sudden do unguard defense and go off the line with like an advanced lunge, something that's all of a sudden now in the realm of unexpected, which is really fun. It like adds another dimension of I don't really know what's gonna happen, knowing that you can always go back to just really holding that space, right?
That's kind of like in Saber when you do a few things to make the person uncomfortable in the middle, like when you hit them in prep or hold them short and hit them back really quickly, the right answer is usually to just attack them immediately afterwards. Because against a tentative opponent, attacking usually works, like short and quick usually works pretty well.
Power post, right?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, that was okay too.
Avola's a gent. He's a gent like that. He definitely acknowledges when he doesn't think that it's his. I mean, he'll argue, but
We all argue. Oh, that was so
Nice
tight.
touch.
I really like the way that he uses his footwork with these retreats. He takes the first step. Look at his back foot there. He takes a half retreat, so it looks like he's going back.
Right.
So
and then just parry, riposte.
he enters the right distance,
Right.
or Garozzo enters the wrong distance from that little footwork thing.
Right.
That was so nice. Look at that. I've seen him do that same setup to counterattack people, and then the person just like runs into him.
Right. And it's very difficult to do what Avola wants to do, to keep someone that wants to come forward and push fluidly, to keep them at a very tight distance. It's something very difficult to do because it feels like if you keep the distance so tight, you're just going to get popped on a very simple action, which, kudos to Avola for being able to keep the distance tight. I don't think he was as successful as he normally was in this bout, but it's still something that's made him a very good fencer, is being able to stay at those really uncomfortable distances. It's almost like watching, Baldini, who keeps at the intensely tight distance.
Someone else who has amazing footwork.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was almost the exact same idea,
Yeah.
and I think you'll find that the set
Same thing.
It was
Same
kind of
setup,
behind
yeah.
that person's body.
No, but you're right, where he's going like this and he's doing a half step back to set up like a power post.
That's right. He just missed the parry this time.
Right.
Although it didn't surprise Garozzo as much this time as it did the last time.
Right. But then again, you'll see that Garozzo's still getting caught in this like little tight distance where he's not able to fully execute his actions. For me, the bout was over the second that he did this. He has the right of way right there.
And he gives it up like
Look
that.
at the space between them. This is for me the recognition that, okay, this is the space that I want to play at. I'm a little too close. The ability to be able to have the right of way and back off and be like, this is the space that I want to play for. I would not be surprised now if Garozzo started to get a couple more touches now from here. Just from this recognition of being like, the last couple touches that have happened, his touch and the two off target lines, because it was too close, because I'm trying to just touch him, The recognition of like, okay, this one step back and settling is almost like, okay, this is the space where I want to be at. That to me was the most important thing that's happened so far in this bout.
The distance is a little better. He did it again.
Look at where they are now. For me, that's very important. And now, again, very good touch by Avola, but you'll still find that from this space right here, it just changes. It changes things up a little bit. One thing obviously good on Avola's part is, like we were saying before, just to throw a wrench in there that hasn't been thrown out, to do like
attack
from
someone.
that distance hasn't happened in this bout.
Yep.
But still, that recognition on Garozzo's part is something that I think was very important.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Garozzo also doesn't miss very often. He'll either give up his right of way without throwing something out or just finish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was weird.
But I love the space in between them.
Yeah, he's giving up right of way a lot more when he doesn't feel like he's got the right distance.
Right. And this isn't just dancing now until someone does something. You know, a lot of the times you look at these some of these Italian fights, and you're like, they're just waiting for something to happen to react, but it's not. This is a grand scheme of actions that goes towards how can I get myself in the best position possible to hit someone.
Yeah, and if you're not, just break it off.
Right. See, and like that was a mistake on Avola's part. And like for someone like Garozzo, the reason why he didn't step in and counterattack is because he was at a distance this size where he could recognize that he needed to go backwards or just at least not dive in and get hit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, that was so sick. I thought that was Garozzo's touch. Really?
Yeah, it was Garozzo's. He missed. Avola missed his repost.
Yeah, that's what
it
it
was.
looked
Garozzo missed the counterattack. Avola missed. Yeah, you can just see it. He missed that one. He misses.
And then the around the head touch that
Yeah.
Garozzo likes so much.
Yeah, touch. Nice. Yeah, that was pretty fair.
That was sick.
Let's get to argue this.
Yeah, good video. I would have videoed that too.
In his space, in his bag. I'm betting this is gonna be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that was not line. Ooh.
Nice touch. But
That was a
again,
great counter
from that space, you're able to recognize those mistakes. Stuff like that. Where again, a good attempt on Avola, but still to have the ability to recognize by keeping it in that space. And like, I know I was using a lot of the similar words about a reactive place, about keeping that like 6 to 8 inches of space. It's just like fencing is not just going forward and touching the other person. While sometimes that is an answer, for me at least, there's a lot more that goes into that, of being able to kind of recognize where you are and recognize what is going to work against the other person, which I think Garozzo did very well. I think Avola had an idea, but he wasn't able just to fully execute it in the same successful way that Garozzo was.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank Sam Moelis for helping me do this analysis. I feel like I learn a lot from him every time we chat, so it was as exciting and educational for me to make this video as it hopefully was for you all to watch it. Right now, all the video collaborations I do with guys like Sam are done pro bono out of their love for the sport and the kindness of their hearts. Ultimately, I want to start being able to pay people like him to work on things like this with me so I can bring you all even more high-quality fencing content. To that end, I wanted to tell you all that I just created a Patreon account. If you like what I do here and on Instagram, you can send me a few dollars each month, which will help me keep doing my Cyrus of Chaos thing and help get people like Sammy here the payment he deserves for his service to the sport. It takes 5 minutes to sign up, and if you become one of my patrons, you can get bonus content, including access to my private Discord channel, early viewing of my rough drafts, or even a free t-shirt depending on how much you pledge. Whether or not you decide to help support me on Patreon, thanks for listening to me ramble. My voice is pretty annoying, so I know it's not easy. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.